GameCube prices are finally falling? Well, at least they're cooling off. So let's take a look at GameCube price trends for June of 2021. Welcome to Retronomics, the series that evaluates price trends in video games. Now, I've been following GameCube prices since August of last year, and it's been really interesting to see how prices change. Now, I've made a couple of other update videos, and this one is for June, so all the prices are accurate as of the recording of this video, which is June 6, 2021. And if you missed it, I'm really sorry that if prices are inaccurate. I do promise to make another update video in August, so if you like this type of content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I have a lot of GameCube games to cover, so I'm gonna get right into it. And if you're new here and want to know more about how Retronomics works, you can check out the previous GameCube price video that I've pinned up here. So let's get in some GameCube prices. Cubivore. Now this game is pretty rare, so I don't expect it to drop in price anytime soon. It's been increasing in value by $50 to $60 every month. A super mint copy sold for $900 a couple of weeks ago, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see this game remain about $600 for the foreseeable future. Rally Championship. This game keeps dropping in price with a couple of copies selling for under the current price starting price. I wouldn't be too surprised if this gets back to pre-pandemic price of $115 by the end of the year. I don't really think it'll drop too much after that since it only seems to sell once a week, but keep an eye on it. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle only just peaked in April at its highest price since price charting started tracking the price, and it's not quite ready to plummet in value, but I do think that we'll see this price come down a bit in the next couple of months. It won't bottom out, especially since Sega doesn't appear to have any plans to re-release it physically on console, but it is available on Steam for $3 if you have to play this game. Ikaruga continues to flirt with $75. It's a great shoot 'em up, and it'll probably fluctuate between $50 and $75 for the foreseeable future. The fact that it's available on the Nintendo Switch should keep it in check. Mario Kart Double Dash. The best Mario Kart has had a lot of peaks and dips, and right now we're seeing a dip with a couple of copies going for under $60. I don't really see this game going lower than $50 anytime soon because Nintendo just seems to keep it a GameCube exclusive. The only way that I would see prices going down is if Mario Kart 9 was like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and let you have a Double Dash as a mode. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness has peaked and it's dropping a bit. Sold prices are all over the place currently, but I think eventually we'll see prices come down a bit in the next couple of months, but I don't think it'll drop below $100 for at least this year. While it isn't a mainline Pokemon game, the Pokemon craze has remained strong this year and copies still have sold over $200 from time to time. Disney Sports Basketball has had no real change in price. Looking at sold listings, there are some that sold for under $300, but actually it looks like they're misrepresented and actually loose copies. There aren't really too many other sold copies to get a good idea for a price projection. I mean, it's just one of those rare games that if you see it pop up for a price that you're comfortable with, snap it up. Beach Spikers is spiking up. I'm really waiting for someone to make a video about how I'm influencing game prices because I talked about it in my last video. It's finally breaking that $20 mark, but it doesn't seem to sell that often. It could still be possible to pick this up for less than $20 if you're patient, but with cheaper games like this, people are willing to pay just a little bit more for the satisfaction of knowing that they don't have to search for it anymore. Geist is another game getting that old Super Nintendo bump. It's exclusive to the Nintendo GameCube, it's a weird concept, and it's from Nintendo, an M-rated first-person shooter. Probably a good idea to get this now rather than later, especially since price charting is seeing a copy sold almost every day. Second Sight is kinda going up, but not as much as Geist and Beach Spikers, probably because it's not a GameCube exclusive. Picking it up now would probably be a good idea, because sometimes these games remain hidden gems and undervalued for quite some time, and then when people finally catch wind of it, the price gets adjusted and it will remain higher than it was before it was discovered. It'll probably fluctuate around this price for the foreseeable future, but don't expect it to drop anytime soon. Ultimate Muscle keeps climbing, and these zany games that didn't sell well when they were launched will keep their value for the time being. You still might get lucky though, one person did snag a copy for $92 shipped, so there are deals to be had. There are still some for below what they're currently listed on price charting, so it hasn't completely taken off just yet, assuming you're not a stickler for condition. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is still creeping around $100 and staying the course for a while. The price trajectory seems to indicate that this won't be dropping anytime soon, so if you haven't bought Thousand Year Door yet, you probably should, because this is probably likely going to be the price point going forward. Nintendo barely acknowledges the older Paper Mario games, so I wouldn't bet on a remaster or re-release anytime soon. F-Zero GX has finally peaked. There are a lot of sold listings hovering between $70 and $80, with a couple of $60 listings sprinkled here and there. There is clearly some room for the game to drop further, so keep an eye on it. Super Mario Sunshine is at its lowest price since December of 2018, and it does seem to be fluctuating between $30 and $50 depending on the condition, so I would probably buy one now. It'll probably drop a tad bit lower, but maybe only a couple of dollars here and there. Looks like the Switch port really did a number on this price. Eternal Darkness is a title that could use a Nintendo Switch port, as it's having wide price fluctuations. There was a $50 sold listing, but it was from Britain and may not have shipped to the United States, but another listing for $74 open bid indicates that we might see this game drop a bit more in the next couple of months, but there are still copies selling for well over $100, so I'll have to see where it's at in August. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes isn't falling as hard as other games on this list. Given its notoriety, it'll probably remain around its current price for the foreseeable future. I'd probably buy it now rather than later. The good news is that it's possible to find it for well under what price charting has it listed as. Skies of Arcadia is another game that is peaking, and there are a handful of sold listings well below the current price charting price, so I think that we'll see it drop a little bit more in the next couple of months, but it will probably remain above $100 for the foreseeable future. Honestly, if you are interested in this game, I'd probably set up an alert and make sure that you lock in a price that you're comfortable with. Super Smash Bros. Melee is coming back down to pre-pandemic levels again, and it's a super popular game that's sold over 1 million copies, so it's really no surprise that it's one game that a lot of people have held onto for a while. There are a lot of sold listings going around for the mid-40s recently, so it clearly has some more room to drop, and it's probably a good idea to wait a bit, assuming that this wasn't one of the first GameCube games you bought. Chibi Robo has essentially plateaued. There are a handful of sold listings for less than the price charting price, but they aren't as common as the other games on this list, so it might be safe to say that the price of Chibi Robo is leveling out and will probably stay in this range for the foreseeable future. So if you were on the fence about buying it, now's the time. Luigi's Mansion is dropping significantly, with some sold listings in the $30 range. Now this was a launch title and has a greatest hit variant, so I don't think that it will be a high dollar game. Not to mention it is available on the 3DS, would be a lot cooler if it was available on the Nintendo Switch, but it is on a modern platform physically, so it should cap the price for the foreseeable future. Twilight Princess is finally coming back down. The 35th anniversary of Zelda is maybe coming? I mean, we'll find out at E3 during Nintendo Direct. It's hard to say right now, but currently sold listings are popping up in the mid-90s, which is significantly less than what price charting has had at its peak in April. It'll probably drop more, but that could change if Nintendo does decide to announce that Zelda-related content for the Nintendo Switch that everybody has been clamoring about. Def Jam Fight for New York has also peaked, but this might be a game that will continue to fetch a high dollar amount. It's an old school EA game, and there aren't any more Def Jam games, but the GameCube version is lacking features that the PS2 and Xbox had, so it might drop further than those versions as time goes on. Alien Hominid has climbed very high over the pandemic. If you're a fan of Castle Crashers, this is the same studio that made it, and it's actually used to be a Flash game, but what really spiked it was the announcement that Behemoth would come out with an Alien Hominid Invasion, which is an updated version of this original game with new gameplay for the Switch, Xbox One, and PC. The PlayStation 2 and GameCube versions are currently the only physical versions of this game, but the PS2 version is lagging way behind in value of the GameCube version, so if you're still interested in paying it for a decent price, then the PS2 version would be the way to go. Gauntlet Dark Legacy is a multi-platform game that's seeing a significant bump in price compared to the Xbox and PS2 versions, but it's actually always been this way. A question on GameFAQs 9 years ago has somebody making the same question: why is the GameCube version more expensive than the PS2? And it turns out that the GameCube version does appear to be better in terms of content in the arcade mode, but the PlayStation 2 has a more consistent frame rate. The game might remain at its current price, with a couple popping up for significantly less. I mean, the last sell as of the recording of this video had it go for about $30 less than what Price Charted had it listed as. I would personally get the PlayStation 2 version since I prefer performance rather than content. Go-Go Hypergrind is a game that I really wish that I had picked up a long time ago when it was $70. It's a cel-shaded skateboarding game similar to Tony Hawk, but it's made by Atlas, and it was only a matter of time before people caught on. The price has potential to drop, but judging by the consistent sold listings in the past month, it'll be a rare one-off sale from somebody who didn't really check what the prices were before listing it. Metal Arms Glitch in the System is one of the games that I would buy now and feel really comfortable about the price that I paid. It really has stayed fairly consistent throughout the pandemic, and the price is all over the place, but I don't really trust price charting on this one. One went for $12.50, and then the one right after it went for $44 a couple of days later. So I would keep an eye on this and buy it for whatever price that you're comfortable with. So there you have it. The GameCube Retronomics episode for June of 2021. We're seeing some heavy hitters level off and some more popular games drop to pre-pandemic levels. So, is it a really good time to buy GameCube games? Well, given the circumstances, I'd say so. I'd probably focus more on the heavy hitters first and then work your way through your collection if you do have deep pockets. If you don't have deep pockets, well, the good news is that a lot of good quality GameCube games are still available for under $100. Of course, there are other options to play these games. I have a GC loader and an extra GameCube, so I'm all set on the big hitters. Of course, nothing really beats the real thing. So let me know what you think about this video. Do you plan on starting GameCube collecting, or have you been priced out? And if you made it this far, like the video. The more likes, the farther the channel reaches more people, and then maybe we can get prices to normalize. If you are new here, consider subscribing for more episodes. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at snicktendo. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Super Nicktendo, and I'll see you next time.